Alrighty. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. How are you guys doing today? Now, it sounds like everybody took 3 shots, 4 boosters. How are you doing today? Alright. So, my name is John Bush, and this is my lovely wife, Rebecca, and we are going to be presenting the Buy Land Build Community Workshop. So, we're very excited to share with you how you can take actions, concrete strategies in order to exit the city, move out into the country, and create self-sufficient communities. I'd love to get a show of hands. How many people are living in the suburbs or an apartment or in a city and you're just like, this isn't working for me. I know if I would have true freedom, I could get out of the city. Okay, how many people are living on a homestead, country, community? Okay, cool. There's some people that must be floating in the ether. I don't know if there's a third option. Space. We're already on Mars. Maybe you're a nomad. There you go. That's the third option. So, we strongly believe, as we share, that living in the country is the optimal choice for where you live if you care deeply about freedom. It's the choice that we've made. We're going to share our story, but we're also going to share our 5-step framework for actually making this happen. Anybody can do it. We did it. Countless people have done it. So if you've enjoyed the beautiful views and this fresh country air, then we want to show you and help to empower you to make that happen. Okay? Any words before we begin?
Just thank you all for being here, and we will encourage you to take notes because there's going to be some interactive elements to this presentation. If you don't have a notepad or a pen, we will be asking you to, be engaged and just thinking about things as we go through and tell our story. So, thinking out loud or putting things on your phone if you need to take notes that way, as we are firm believers in really writing down and understanding what it is your goals are and figuring out a roadmap to succeed and accomplish those goals.
All right, so check it out, folks. Now, life in the city has its benefits, the steakhouse, the arts, but it also has some downsides. Same thing with the suburban life.
One thing, I think, if anyone here has lived in a traditional neighborhood development, there's this 9-to-5 kind of rat race lifestyle. You're working all day, and you come home and you're at the office spending more time working at the office than you even get to enjoy your house, but you're working so much in order to afford the mortgage so that you can have the house, but once you get home, you're so tired, you just go in your garage, close the garage door, don't even have time to connect with the neighbors next to you, maybe you don't even know your neighbors next to you. Just a complete disconnection from finding that fulfillment by connecting with the land and connecting with those near to you.
Now, we have a 10-acre homestead we'll share about, but we do still spend quite a lot of time at the office, but it's balancing back out. This is actually from downtown Austin. I don't know if anybody lives in a big city, but there's all sorts of homelessness problems, and a lot of that is exacerbated by the Federal Reserve and the manipulation and the regulations, and it's definitely not an optimal living experience for the homeless folks or for those that are living around us. On top of that, there's massive traffic in the cities. This is downtown Austin, Texas as well, where I was born and raised, where Rebecca spent many of her days. But what we yearned for was the country life. This is a downtown, a small town. I found it online. Who knows what city it is? Maybe you guys.
It's Bandera, Texas.
Yeah. So a small town. There's still some hustle and bustle. There's still some commerce and restaurants and things to do. But as you can see, it's clean, it's pleasant, it's joyful. Now, if you really get outside of the city, you can experience livestock and raising cattle and just the beauty of what nature is all about. Now, a lot of people feel that they want this in their lives, but they don't know how to do it. They don't have the money to make it happen. So we want to let you know that we're here. Other folks like Curtis are here to lend a helping hand so you can make this dream a reality. Now, I totally understand folks are struggling, and you're like, look, I'm barely making ends meet, living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe my credit score's shot. How can I possibly get a mortgage, especially when the interest rates are going through the roof? And the Federal Reserve is about as much of a fugazi as possible. Inflation as well. And on top of that, most folks in this community are aware of the conspiratorial view of history. We have programs like the United Nations Agenda 21 that are actually trying to make it difficult for people to live in the country. This is the Wildlands Project. It comes from the Global Biodiversity Assessment, which is like a compendium to Agenda 21. It was a program which they said was about environmentalism, but really was about controlling people and resources. So in spite of all that, in spite of Klaus Schwab desiring us to own nothing and be happy, In spite of the Smart City agenda, which aims to track, trace, and surveil, catalog every one of our activities, we just want folks to know that there is an exit plan. There is a way out. There's a roadmap that you can take, step-by-step process that we've taken, and we're here to share that with you today. So I'll let back to Cheryl.
Yeah, so our goal for this workshop is to help as many people as possible build these alternative human settlements. Is if we want real change, it's not through voting, it's not through the ballot box, it's through our everyday decisions. Voting with our dollar, voting with how we spend our time, voting on how and who we spend our time with, and there's nothing more intimate than where you live. So we're going to aim through this workshop to teach you what we've done to acquire our 10-acre homestead, and hopefully through the process of land acquisition, finding community members, and just figuring out even what your 10-year, 5-year, 1-year plan is, you'll be right along there with us on that roadmap to success. Because there are a lot of things that go into this when you're making this pretty dramatic lifestyle shift. What Molly and her crew have created here, last time I spoke with her, she indicated there's around 30 people who are living here full time, right? It takes a lot of energy to maintain, manage, and properly steward land projects like this. So there's a lot that goes into it. And our goal for this workshop is for you to believe that buying land and building community is the key to creating a life of freedom. And so we're going to do that by going through a 5-step framework that worked for us.
Yeah, but first, to share a little bit about ourselves. We have a 10-acre homestead, like we shared, in Bastrop, Texas, just east of Austin. So we exited the city of Austin. We're building a homestead and a community in Bastrop. It's a rural town of like 6,000. We're outside of that city even. This is our house here. We have an 11.2 kilowatt solar system. We got some garden beds. Those are wicking beds that have a water reservoir on the bottom. That the soil and the roots or the plants wick the water up into the soil. We have some chickens. We've done a lot of work with experts like Curtis and Jeff Lott and Joel Salatin to help really fine-tune this framework we want to present you guys today. And we do a lot of work through our company, Live Free Academy, to spread this message to as many people as possible. We both started off as political activists. Give it up for Ron Paul. You guys have some Ron Paul revolutionaries in there? It was great. We learned about liberty, but at the end of the day, we were just spinning our wheels. And the Ron Paul revolution, if you look at the root word of revolution, it's to revolve, go around in circles. And even if, Rand Paul gets in power or whatever, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts, absolutely. We can't rely on politicians to do all the work for us. It's up to us to do that work and to put in that work. Really what we're desiring is freedom, breaking the chains of slavery and living a free life. So what does that free life look like?
So this can be achieved, right, not by focusing on what it is we're getting away from. It's important to acknowledge that, which essentially are the centralized food systems, the centralized pharmaceutical industries, the medical and military industrial complex, and all of these systems that are no longer serving us, right? But building a model that makes that obsolete, as Buckminster Fuller said. And to us, there's a profound sense of joy when you are able to live a simpler life and living in the country and growing your own food or knowing where your food comes from or bartering with neighbors and having that local economy, the counter economy, supporting the farmer's market, and ultimately just pursuing a self-sufficient life through homesteading.
Yeah, so self-sufficiency, getting off the grid, but ultimately what we're looking for, and I imagine many of you too, is peace of mind. Just the contentness to know that no matter what happens on the outside world, we are going to be okay. So yeah, we are married happily. We got 2 kiddos, live in Central Texas. We both experimented with this leaving the city lifestyle with some success and some failures. I lived in a converted school bus for a few years with 2 kids. It was quite a challenge. But we did travel around the country educating people about Bitcoin, like back in 2014, 2015, in the early days. Becca has a very similar story as well.
Yes, so I am an eco-village enthusiast, connoisseur of intentional community, and tiny house specialist. But it all started in a 32-foot travel trailer. So basically, it was back in 2015, and I was like, why am I spending all this money on rent? And to be honest, when I moved to Texas, I didn't have family here. So I didn't have a way to have a fallback plan. And my rent was almost $1,000 a month. Back in 2015, for a single female in my my early 20s, that was a lot of money to be flushing down the toilet. So I thought, well, what if I take what I'm spending for this 1 year in rent, 12K, and put it toward a travel trailer. So I found some financing through my local credit union, bought a travel trailer, moved it out to my friend's property, and my living expense went down to $250 a month. And that was kind of the aha moment for me, and it's been an interesting progression since then. After that, I ended up doing sales and customer care management at a local neighborhood tiny home community in Austin. This development had 178 tiny home lot locations, so a pretty substantial in size in terms of the size of the community. We had over 100 residents by the time I segued out in 2022. But I was there for 3 years. John and the kiddos, we all lived together in a 399 square foot tiny home, which was a step up from our previous glamping RV converted school bus tiny home lives. But this was really the catalyst for us in many ways to see the demand for this lifestyle, because I was doing multiple property tours a day where people were desperate to return to the land. They wanted to do more with less. They don't want to have a mortgage that they're tied down to and have all of this. Oh, I have to heat and cool. I have my house. I have to clean a house that I'm not even using all 2,500 square feet. So this tiny home community and working at this neighborhood was really an epiphany for me. But the thing is, at this community, it was zoned as an RV park, and you couldn't own the land. You owned your tiny home, but you rented the land. And that's when we decided, what if we could buy a big plot of land? What if we could have a source of a design where people have equity in the land they own, and then share these community spaces and sharing the stewardship of that land and growing food and living communally. And so this was, you've all seen this meme, right? Me trying to convince my friends we should buy a very large plot of land and start a community. So through this demand, but actually we left that community, we bought our 10-acre homestead, and are starting to assist others in this pursuit. So for a while there, we were all talk. What if we could do this? What if we could do that? But really, this is all about action. So nothing was more dramatic than when the whole world shut down.
Yeah, so we both came to the same place, but separately before we got together. I guess we've been together for 7 years now? We're married for 1 year. It's been the best 7 years of my life. Give it up for my lovely wife, Rebecca! Anyway, so we were both going to the same place, but separately, and when we got together, we really just stepped into this manifestation space. But for the longest time, it was just all talk and desire and dream. We weren't taking action. And it wasn't until COVID, of course, that lit a fire under a lot of people's behinds that we were like, whoa, this is a big deal. It's time to exit the city and to accelerate our plans. How many people, quote unquote, woke up? I say quotes because we never really finished waking up until we're sitting under the Boda tree and we reached Nirvana, right? But how many people, quote unquote, woke up with COVID? All right, cool. I honestly think that their plan and their operation completely backfired, because not only did a lot of people not go along with their nonsense, but they did awaken a sleeping giant, and now all of the people are coming together, congregating, doing work together, strategizing, and creating the freedom that we all desire. So it's one of those things where it is what we make of it. We can wallow in victimhood, or we could say, I feel blessed to be alive at this time because I can play an active role in creating the new earth as the old system crumbles all around us. I think that's a very powerful thing. Yeah, so there were things that were happening. It wasn't just COVID though. In February of 2021, we had what we call, my kids called it Snowvid. So there's this huge ice storm all across Texas. And back in the day, we're like, Texas, Tennessee, la la la, we have our own electric grid here. La la la. It's called ERCOT, the Electric Reliability Council of Texas. It's a public-private partnership. It's a total failure. And they're even worried about all the eclipse and all the new people coming in, that there's going to be another issue. Anyway, in the city of Austin, everything shut down. Thankfully, we were close to a power plant. And so we still had power the whole time. There was a huge eye-opener. My parents had to shack up in the living room in front of the fireplace. They were out of power. It's probably a nice romantic time. Again, you can make the most of it, but just rushing me along. So that was a big eye-opener, and that's why we realized once we get our homestead, we need to get solar system right, as soon as possible. So there's probably signs in your life that are encouraging you to move and move forward, but oftentimes we don't know exactly how to do it. So we started planning, we started strategizing, and that's what really led us to success. And we asked ourselves, if not now, then when? Now is the time. We are the people that we have been waiting for. So that gets us to the meat of our presentation, which is our 5-part framework for exiting the cities, buying land, and building community in the country, right? So we're going to go through these 5 pieces, these 5 elements that we believe if you implement, you can achieve this dream. So the first piece is to get your mind right. It's all about mindset. To come up with a plan, a strategy, goals, acquire the property, which is often the most challenging part, and then to find people to build with, to network with, to connect with, or to find the people and then collaboratively buy the property as well, and then finally take massive action to develop your property into an off-grid paradise. All right, so the first piece of the framework, get your mind right. It all starts with making a decision. So if you're somebody that lives in the city, you want to get out of there, you've got to start by making a commitment. But we choose the word decision precisely because the Latin root of the word means to cut off. So when you make a decision, you're cutting off any other possibility from that decision. It's a true commitment. It's different than a choice, which you can waver on, go back and forth. You got to make a decision. So who wants to make a decision right now with God as a witness, with this community as a witness, to exit the cities and to build community in the country? Let me see, raise your hand. Can you make a commitment? All right. We're going to make a commitment to take it even further, to develop new properties and all sorts of stuff. All right, so we're all in it together. This is a great quote. I'll let Becca share it.
Yeah, so if you believe that you can, then you're already halfway there. And I love this Napoleon Hill quote. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. If you have that self-talk in your mind and you're like, oh, I can never leave this city because I'm tied down to this job and I have my 401k and my health insurance and all that, you're already deciding in your mind that that's basically, you've already made up that decision, right? But if you are dreaming and believing, like, no, I know that I can get there, I know that I can do this, then you're going to already be halfway to that point of now. What do I need to do in order to accomplish that? But it's a lot of, I think, talk in your mind that can even prevent from taking those actions of discovering what it is you need to change about your day-to-day decision making to, reach this end goal. Because it does take time. And this is just a slide to show the power of manifestation and the power of really dedicating and deciding I'm going to do this and speaking it into existence. So I was like, I want to drive a Tesla. And this was in, 2019. And John was like, why don't you write down your goals and say, I drive a Tesla, like as if it already happened. And literally like 2 days later, when I was doing the tiny home property tours, a client came in there, they had a Tesla, and I was like, oh my gosh, I just wrote down in my vision notebook that I drive a Tesla, and this is my goal. And they said, oh, well, you can drive a Tesla today. Let you drive the Tesla and do the property tour. So instead of going out in the golf cart, I got to drive their Tesla. And they're like, wow, literally within 2 days. And then after having that experience of actually driving the Tesla, like, oh my God, this is awesome. I want to do this again. Like, what steps do I need to take in order to afford this vehicle? So then here we are, about 2 years later, and I bought the Tesla. Woo! So I know everyone here probably hates Teslas. Yes. So if you believe you can, it might take time, but you'll figure out what you need to do. So I was like, how much do I need for a down payment? What do I need to have for my debt to income ratio in order to get approved? What do I need to take in terms of action steps in order to achieve this goal?
So we drive a Tesla, but one day the Tesla will drive us right to the gulag.
Actually, we drive 2 Teslas, so I think a lot of people in this room might lost some respect for us. We power them with our solar panels, and we have 3 Tesla Powerwalls. So, it's all a matter of perspective in terms of what your interests are and what's important to you. Okay, so I have another story to tell you about mindset and law of attraction and just really believing that you can. So back in 2016 or something like that, I was like, I am going to create an event about eco-villages in Austin, Texas. And the problem was nobody really had ever heard that word before, didn't really know what I was talking about. But nevertheless, I flyered all over town. I was making a website, learning how to make websites, and doing all sorts of promotion. list together and I made the event happen. And 15 people showed up. But that did not deter me from pursuing this goal of bringing together. My vision was hundreds of people who can come together, network, connect with one another, and learn what it takes in order to build community, to live this lifestyle. Because many people have already done it. So why don't we just learn from them? And here we are 4 years later, we had over 500 people at the Exit and Build Land Summit. So, I mean, these things don't happen overnight, but if you believe that you can, you keep going every single day working toward that goal, eventually in time, we'll see them come to fruition. So.
And we're going to invite you guys later to join us for the event. It's taking place in May. Molly will be speaking. It's in Bastrop, Texas. It's the 4th time we've done it. It's called the Exit and Build Land Summit. We'll share a little bit more after we wrap up this framework. So just want to talk a bit about limiting beliefs, right? You guys familiar with this concept of limiting beliefs? There was actually a guy that came to the Exit and Build Land Summit a couple of years ago, and he was like, I'd never heard of limiting beliefs, but I saw this video that you did, John, and since we watched that video, we realized we had all these limiting beliefs about money and business. And we watched the video, we identified our limiting beliefs, and now we have our own business, it's thriving. They sponsored the event, they had a table at our event, and they were able to bring their family over to Bastrop to come to the event, something they never would have been able to do with their 9 to 5. So there's some limiting beliefs that we've identified in doing this for several years that folks tend to have when it comes to exiting the cities and buying land. And a lot of it centers around money. So there's this classic thing like, sure, John, sounds easy doing this presentation, but I can't afford it. I can't afford a down payment for a mortgage or just to buy it outright. And I just want to encourage you guys, there's this classic Robert Kiyosaki thing. So don't say, I can't afford it. Ask yourself, how can I afford it? It's a total mindset shift, a flip of the script, right? Another thing is like, I don't know what to do. I can't figure it out. So we got to be real clear about how we talk to ourselves, because we do manifest that. It makes it all the more real. Whenever we say we can't do it, we can't figure it out, we don't know the people, I want to encourage people to be empowered and to believe in themselves. And the reason why we have the first piece of the framework is mindset, because we believe it to be the most important. Figuring it out, bringing the money together, finding the people, finding the property, none of it means anything if you don't believe in your ability to get it done. And the mindset's so important because it's not going to be easy. But when you hit those roadblocks and those challenges, if you do genuinely believe in yourself, you'll be able to push through. This goes for healing a broken relationship, getting your money game together, getting healthy, whatever it may be. Believe in yourself. That which the mind can believe and conceive, it can achieve. And it is just a little illustration, right? I won't do it. I can't do it. I want to do it. How do I do it? I'll try to do it. I can do it. I will do it. That's a powerful word, too. I will do it. We can will things into existence. Yes, I did it. And then, of course, the last piece of the mindset, which leads into the next piece of the framework, is this classic piece of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. You guys familiar with this work? It's begin with the end in mind. So really just get a clear picture of exactly what it is that you want, and that can help you to manifest it, which brings us to the next piece, which is come up with a plan.
So, don't call it a dream, call it a plan, if you've ever done a vision board. And yeah, we'll be asking folks after this portion to share what they come up with. So this is kind of the interactive thing I was talking about earlier. So how are you going to get to where you want to go if you don't know what the end destination is, right? It's like using a GPS, you have to know the end goal. So for us, we were like, well, what if we were living in this tiny home and we're like, what is it that we're even wanting? Like, we always said, oh, we want to buy land, we want to buy land. Okay, that's kind of big. Let's be more specific. So I started writing things down. What are we looking for specifically? So let's zoom in. I own a 10-acre ranch. By the way, this time that I'm writing this, I did not own a 10-acre ranch. But this is what, the same thing with, I drive a Tesla, right? And like writing it down as if it already exists. And these are the features of that land that I love. And so you can see I wrote down all of these different, there's like 13 different things, and I crossed out to the right and I wrote in text, those so you can read them better, but I crossed out the things we didn't get. But look at how many things we did. So if you just write it down, you have that clarity. Now you can present that to your real estate agent, or now you can look at it every single day and keep that at the forefront of your mind, and maybe you won't get 100% of what you're looking for, but everything that you're wanting, why do you want to do? What is your why? What's the purpose behind you wanting to do this? Do you want to be closer to family? Do you want to do this so you have financial freedom? Do you want to do this so that you can trust that the food you're eating isn't poison? It's sprayed with a bunch of pesticides and chemicals or livestock that's injected with who knows what. So, just being really specific, having everything be measurable. I will accomplish this within 2 years. By January 2026, I will have blank, 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 blank. Just super achievable. You don't want to be outrageous and outlandish, because then maybe you'll feel a little deterred if you're not reaching. I mean, we're all about 10x, but you also do need to be reasonable. Relevant and then time bound, So keeping those things in mind, I think if you have a notepad or you just want to think about this in your mind,